Hello and welcome to St Michael's Hill. Thanks for joining me today on the workbench, having a bit of an HST kind of session here where I'm working on a few different projects, but I thought I'd talk to you about chipping the latest Hornby versions for DCC. I have covered the kind of hardwiring of older locos before, so the one at the back over there is one of the older Hornby versions. If you wanted to chip that for DCC, you need to hardwire it. For these, it's somewhat simpler, as they are the latest Hornby releases and are generally very, very good models and are DCC ready. These two here are resprays. They're actually the latest Swallow releases that were done with the TTS sound, although the sound has been removed by the person who did the respray. So my plan is to open both of these up and chip them, which should be a simple enough task. I'll just show you how it's done. Then I'm going to look at how to set them up correctly, change some of the CVs, that sort of thing, to get good running out of them. So hopefully some of you will find this video interesting. It's something that I've not really kind of been too confident with until fairly recently in terms of changing CVs and things like that. So hopefully you'll find it useful, and we'll go from there. So the first thing I will do with any DC loco before I chip it is just test that everything kind of works on DC the way it should. So this is the dummy car, so we're just looking for lights function really. So as you can see, the forward lights work and the reverse lights work, so that is fine. The other power car is obviously going to be the motor car, or motor model. So for this one, we're obviously looking that it kind of runs, and again the light functions. So here we go. As you can see in here, the lights are working correctly and the model is running fairly well. That's forward. Let's try it in reverse. As you can see, the power car is working as it should be. So stop that there. I'm fairly confident then that I can chip these for DCC without any problems. There are a few things that you'll need. So firstly is 2 chips. So the first one is probably standard for me, is the lens decoder. This is an 8-pin decoder. A lot of the Hornby models tend to be 8-pin. Backman tend to use a 21-pin decoder, so just be careful when you're buying a decoder that it's going to fit the model you work with. But generally the lens decoders are really, really good. Come with a great guarantee as well, and I've had no problems with them whatsoever. The second decoder you need isn't quite such an important one. It needs less functions just because it's really running the lights. So I picked up this slightly cheaper one from Gauge Master, and hopefully that will do the job in the dummy car. So I'm going to just get set up, and then I will be back with you. So the things you're going to need for this job is some sort of cradle to hold the loco in place and keep it safe while you work, a screwdriver, a couple of decoders like I said, and the locos we're working on. It should be that simple. So first of all, I'm going to look at the power car. So you might not be able to see too clearly on the screen there, but there are a couple of screws here and here, and the same here and here. With a lot of Hornby models around this era, they kind of worked on that process. So it should just be a case of unscrewing the screws, and then hopefully it all kind of slides out fairly easily. Once the screws are removed, we just need to remove the body. Now we have to be a little bit careful. The back will come off fairly simply, but the front, there's a few kind of things that are connected. So the cab lighting and the light clusters are connected. So it's just a case of taking off the body and then sliding it forward and then lifting it off gently like that. So there we go. We place that down there. We should there be able to see everything in kind of working order. And here is a bit of a closer look of what's going on. The lighting has been attached by wires, so this used to be done with kind of a contact strip. So this is the latest one. Maybe they've decided a slightly more reliable way is to just wire everything up properly. Obviously the chip that we need to replace is this blanking chip that is here. One thing we're going to need to be quite careful of is just ensuring that the chips are both in correctly, in the right way. Obviously with chips there is a right way around. It doesn't usually matter too much, and that's basically because, you know, if a loco goes forwards or backwards, it doesn't really matter too much. For a lot of locos, class 37 or 47 or something like that is driven in a certain way, but obviously with an HST there's a definite front end. And the other thing we're going to need to do is make sure that the other end is done in the opposite way, so when one is going forwards the other is going backwards. We just need to make sure that that is done correctly. So this is the chip that I'm going to be using. It's the Lens 8-pin decoder. Fairly standard, and I've used these plenty of times on this channel. So I'm just going to pop that in. It comes with a nice little bit of sticky black kind of mounting, which is the same size as the chip, so it means we can kind of place it away in the body somewhere without it getting in the way of any of the circuitry, which is a nice touch. So I mentioned getting in the right way. The correct way, I believe, is the orange wire is always number 1. So if you can see here, the orange wire feeds to the pin at the back there on the right hand side. So that will go into the number 1, and we should be able to go from there. Installing the chip really is as simple as just lining it up with the holes and pushing it in. So again, just go slow. You don't want to damage the chip at all. So there you go, just slides in. Now I will give this a quick test before I kind of get the body back on, ensure that the lights are still running correctly and that the decoder is working nicely. To do that, I'll just use my rolling road again, but I will make sure that the controller is swapped for a DCC one rather than the DC one that is currently there. So as with all chips straight out of the box, they're going to be programmed to address 3. So on this controller, it's just a simple case of pressing that and hitting the acceleration button. As we can see, it's already running very smoothly. Just check that the lights are operational. Interestingly enough, they are not. Oh, of course, because I need to turn them on DC. See, obviously they need to be turned on from the controller. So yeah, we can see that they're working. The cab light is still working, as are the headlights. We just change the direction. We should lose the cab light and get reverse lights, which we have got, which is great. So everything seems to be running exactly how we want it. It's then just a simple job of placing the decoder somewhere inside the body. Now here there just seems to be an awful lot of room, so I'm going to fix it to the roof, and yeah, it should fit in quite nicely. So I'm going to do that and get the body back together. So once it's back together, I'd just like to give it another quick test, just to make sure everything's running the way it should be. As you can see, we've got lights and movement, which is good, and the lights going forward. So yeah, very happy with kind of how that's gone on. So the next thing to do is to work on the other power car. So with the dummy car, it's exactly the same process. The screws are in exactly the same place. So I'm going to open those up and show you what's inside, as that will look a little bit different. So this is the inside of the dummy car. As you can see, there's no motor. There's definitely some weight put in there, and then the circuit board which handles the lights and the DCC operations. I'm not sure when this had sound, whether it had speakers in both ends, but there's possibly a chance it probably did. So yeah, this probably handles all that as well. But for now, it's just a case again of removing the blanking chip, which I will be doing. This one's a little stiffer, so I'm going to just again use the screwdriver just to kind of prise it out a little bit. and then fitting the decoder again. So again, like I said, make sure it is the same way around as the one in the power car, and we'll go from there. I just need to check, this is a different type of decoder, so I'll get it out of the box and have a quick look at it. So this is a slightly different type of decoder. There is obviously a pin that goes into the circuit, and then there's a little adapter here that plugs straight into this, which is the decoder. So slightly different, but no more complicated really. So I'm just going to put that together and get it into the loco. It's just a case of making sure that this end is in exactly the same way. So the orange wire is gone to number 1, and it's just been slotted in, and then it's going to leave us this little end that we can just pop straight onto the decoder. So I'm going to do that now and then give it a quick test. So there we go, the decoder is fitted and seems to be running okay. Yeah, we can turn the lights on and off, and they go in the direction of travel, which is perfect. So the next step is to get this back together, just test that it all works. I'm going to give it a quick test run on the layout. So join me in a second. I'll make sure that it's all running how it should down on the layout. So we've now got the HST down on the layout. In theory, because I've left them both chipped as the same number, so they're both number 3, they should both work at the same time once I switch them on. So I've selected Loco 3 and put on the headlights. So we've got the headlights at this end, and down this end we have the reverse lights. So that kind of works as it should. Change the direction, and again we've got the rear lights there and the headlights and cab lights up there. So let's just see how she runs, and then I'll talk to you a little bit about CVs. So that's all looking pretty good. The only thing you will probably have noticed is the acceleration is a little bit jerky. If I kind of show you here, each time I press the increase button on the speed, there's definitely kind of a jerk while it gets going. One thing we can obviously do about that is change the CV values on acceleration. So I'm going to look at doing it now. The first thing I always do with locos is change the address number. So I always use the last 4 digits in a loco. So for example, the EWS one at the back here is number 7778, and the HST here will become 3190. 3190. Now, as I said before, I want the both ends to be kind of the same. So I will change this one here to 3190 as well, not 3191. So the first thing I'll do is change the address on both of these. So I will need to remove one of them because at the moment they're both address 3. So I'll do that now. I'll do the dummy car to start with, just because this will pretty much be the only thing that we change on it. The lighting is the only thing at the moment that the CVs will be controlling. So on the NCE power cab, it's a fairly simple job. So if I can get this right, so we've selected our loco already. However, what we're going to do is change it. So we need to come down here to the program escape. So we press program, and then it says select mode program on main, and that's what we want to do. So we'll go down and hit enter. Then we're going to choose the loco we want to program. So it is number 3. So hit enter. So it gives us 3 choices here. So we can change the address by hitting number 1. 2 will change or allow us to go into the CVs menu, and 3 is the CFG menu, which, to be honest, I don't know what it means. I will have to look into that. So the first thing is address, so we want to change that, so we'll hit 1. And then it gives us the options of the long address and the short address. I'm going to be changing the long address, which gives us a 4-digit code. So hit 1, and then I'll change that address. So we said it was going to be 3190, and hit enter. And then we're done. So that's as simple as that to change the address using the NCE power cab. So I'm going to repeat the same thing with the power car. So again, I'll come down to program and hit that. Program on main, which is yes, and program loco. So now I want to change the loco to program. So it just needs to go to 3 and then enter. I'll change the address to the long address, and I'll put the new long address in, which is 3190. Again, simple as that. So I'm just going to check that these have both worked. So we've selected the loco 3190. Headlights are still working. Everything's all good, and it still runs. So happy that they have both gone on, and to see the dummy car, that's also working as well. So happily change the address of those. The next job, like I say, is the CVs. So we'll have a quick look at those. So as it is, the acceleration is pretty instant, and so is the deceleration. It's basically run by the speed of my thumb on here. Set it to 0 and it stops. So to change the CVs again, we just go down to program, hit that. We're going to program on main again, so hit enter. We are programming that loco, so 3190. And this time we're going to hit CV, so hit number 2 on the controller. I'm going to program the CV number 3. So again, enter 3 and enter, and then enter value. So I believe this can go up to 28 as the maximum. What I'll do first is choose a kind of mid-level 10, hit enter, and that should be that. So we then hit escape, and hopefully the difference will be fairly instant. So we change the direction a little bit. See, it's a little bit smoother. And that becomes more apparent when you increase the speed of the loco. However, I'm not going to leave it at 10. I do think that's still a bit fast, and generally with a lot of the locos I'm going to be using, I want a kind of fairly realistic level of acceleration and deceleration. So I'm going to go up to 28 and see how that goes. So again, it's just a case of program, enter, pick the loco that we're doing, CV, so to program CV3, enter. I'm going to enter that at 28, and there we go. So now that's a lot smoother. So as you can see, I'm going to put this up to pretty much full speed, and you'll see it accelerate past without me actually touching the controls again. So we'll get it up to 28, which is full speed. My hands are off, and it will increase in speed. Still decreases very quickly. So let's change the deceleration to program on main again. Select that loco, 2 for CV. This time it's 4 for deceleration. And I'm going to put that at about 13. So just kind of about halfway there. Hopefully this will now give me a more gradual stop. There we go. So if I give it power's off, it's going to come to a slow stop. So I'm very happy with how that's kind of worked out. The CVs have been changed and are working very nicely and create a lot smoother running. It's very easy to do. It's something that can be quite intimidating at first, but actually once you start to do it and play around, it's a lot of fun. Now normally I would leave you with some running shots of the units on the layout, but it's a very small layout, and obviously an HST, whilst they do occasionally run around on the network like this, aren't really designed for that. I've spoken to Garry at Cheekytek. Gary's a guy I've met a couple of occasions, and he's always been an awesome guy, and I really love his layout. And I basically asked if I can go and have a look and bring some stock, and Garry was kind enough to say that would be fine, and so I'm going to head over to his. I want to take this and a full rake of Mark IIIs, and I might even take the Class 47 there at the back as well. So I want to leave you with some running shots from his, and then I will give you a quick kind of outro after that. So I'm just back from Garry's now, and firstly I would just like to give a massive thank you to Garry. It was great spending the evening with you and playing trains and having a chat and doing all that sort of stuff. I really had a wonderful time, so a massive thank you for your kind hospitality, and yeah, it was really appreciated. Garry's layout is amazing. It looks even better in real life than it does on film, and that really is saying something. He's a great host, and I can't recommend checking out his channel enough. If you, for some reason, follow me but don't follow him, you've got to get over to his channel now and subscribe. So I'll put the link to his channel below. It was really great to kind of see both of these kind of trains in kind of proper action, I suppose. Had a few troubles with the Class 47 at times. Seems that almost like the middle wheel of each bogie just kind of rides slightly kind of higher. It almost seems to be occasionally riding on those. So I'm going to have a look at that. But the HST performed faultlessly. as did the Mark IIIs from Lima. So yeah, very, very kind of encouraged by that. It was great to kind of see, you know, trains running, and obviously Garry got out one of his HSTs, and we kind of running them both around. And there's something about a kind of a long train running on a layout that is great fun. So yeah, really, really cool. Got me very excited about getting my layout built and being able to run trains, and being able to invite people like Garry round to mine. So massive thank you once again, Garry, and yeah, really, really appreciate that. I will leave it there for today. Thank you very much for joining me today on St Michael's Hill. Stick around till the very end, and there'll be a shout out to another layout. And I will see you again very soon on St Michael's Hill. Thank you. Goodbye. Thanks for joining me today on St Michael's Hill. The video in the top left-hand corner is something else I think you'll really enjoy. This week's channel shout-out goes to Robert's Train Set. He's just hit 100 subscribers, and I think certainly deserves a few more. So click on the icon on the bottom right, make sure you check out his channel and subscribe. Thanks very much. See you again soon.